Mitsubishi Triton diesel engine 2018-2020 model car. The problems with this car are the sudden engine light coming on. After the engine light comes on, loss of engine power and poor performance, especially under load when driving uphill on the road. I'll get inside the car and first check with the iScan computer to see if there are any engine fault codes. Click Read Fault Code to view the fault code. The fault code is number 1. P1276 fuel filter exchange fail. The P1276 code in a Mitsubishi indicates a fuel filter exchange fail, meaning there's a problem with the fuel filter pressure switch circuit, often caused by a failed switch, a clogged fuel filter, or issues with the wiring. 2. Diagnose and fix this. First check if the fuel filter needs replacement, then inspect its pressure switch and the associated wiring for damaged shorts or loose connections. Number 1. I will open the diesel fuel filter and check it. Now I first disconnected the wires to remove the fuel filter housing assembly. Remove the diesel input and output hose pipes. Now I will pull the fuel filter housing assembly upwards and remove it. Watch the full video to learn how to bleed fuel and start the car engine after changing the diesel filter. I took out the fuel filter housing assembly. The fuel filter housing assembly lock nut needs to be loosened. How to open a lock nut? An error has been given for the open lock nut, meaning that the lock nut will open when turned to the left. The fuel filter housing assembly must be tightened by turning the lock nut to the left. Look, the lock nut is loosened and now it opens very easily by turning it to the left by hand. Now I will open the top of the fuel filter housing, separate it, and take out the fuel filter. Look, I took out the fuel filter. How dirty is the fuel filter? The fuel filter has become very dirty due to not changing it for a long time. This makes it difficult for diesel to enter the fuel pump and fuel injectors. The filter housing assembly is dirty and dirty inside. The diesel fuel filter has become so dirty because it has not been changed for a long time. Check engine light, fault code. Engine power loss and poor performance, especially under load, have been a problem. A diesel fuel filter should be replaced approximately every 20,000 to 40,000 kilometers, 12,000 to 25,000 miles, but the most important source of information is your vehicle's owner's manual. Driving in dusty areas or with poor fuel quality may require more frequent changes, as this can lead to faster clogging and contamination. Now I will install this new diesel fuel filter into the oil filter housing assembly. Replace the old O-ring on the fuel filter housing assembly and install a new O-ring. Now I installed the new fuel filter inside the fuel filter housing. Place the top of the fuel filter housing in place and tighten the lock nut securely. Now I will install the fuel filter housing assembly inside the car. Remember to keep the hose pipe for diesel coming out of the filter open when installing the fuel filter housing assembly. I connected the sensor cable to the filter housing. I installed the fuel filter input diesel pipe. I connected the fuel water separator sensor fuel filter wire socket. Do not install the hose pipe that carries diesel fuel from the fuel filter housing to the engine. First, I will pump the fuel filter by hand so that I can fill the fuel filter housing with diesel, and the air inside the filter will be released through the output hose and the hand pump will be pumped until diesel comes out through the output. Diesel is coming out through the fuel filter housing assembly output hose pipe. Now I will connect the hose pipe. Now I installed the hose pipe from the fuel filter to the diesel fuel pump and secured it with a clip so that the fuel wouldn't leak. Press the diesel hand pump again. Stop pumping when the hand pump feels hard. Now I'll get inside the car and clear the engine codes with the scan computer. First, I turn the ignition key switch to the on position. Now I will click Clear Fault Code. Clear all DDC, then I will click OK. Clear all fault codes successfully and click OK to check again if there are any fault codes. Now I will click on Red Fault Code. Fault code cleared. There are no more fault codes. No fault code. Now that the ignition key switch is in the on position, the check engine light is off. Now I will start the car engine. The engine is started with one click. Check that the check engine light is not on after starting the engine. Inshallah, there are no more problems now. Look, when I press the fuel accelerator, the engine and PM have gone up to 3000. Thank you for watching the full video.